Welcome to my tutorial and review of Back to the Future Part 3 for the Sega Master System. I'm going to combine the tutorial and review for this shitty game. The review portion will also apply to the Genesis version. I still have to try the other ports, but I can assume that they're probably really fucking bad. So it starts out with a really fast-moving, heavy memorization sequence. No time to learn the controls or anything like that. So what you need to do is basically learn how to react to each obstacle type, and then you got to put it all together. And you can memorize the entire layout of the stage. Now, I was reloading a save to reset quickly instead of watching the death cutscene each time on an emulator, and that did seem to make this stage take long for me. It took me around 1 hour 40 minutes just to beat this first stage. Now, on the Genesis version, I beat it in about 29 minutes. And the Genesis version is much more aggressive than this, but for some reason this one gave me more trouble. So I may have been reloading a shitty stage layout, as far as the power-ups are. But, as the obstacles are always the same, so that doesn't change. But yeah, it's pretty shitty. One thing I do is I shoot left and right continuously to try to negate some of the memorization. It may hit something, but the fire rate is so slow on the Master System version that it's not as helpful as it was on the Genesis version. But you're going to have to know when to jump, when to duck. You can grab some of the power-ups like the timers and things like that. The time seems the most important. The other stuff seems kind of random or unimportant. But you see I succeeded there, but I had to go through the entire course. If you do it faster, you can beat it pretty early. But despite doing everything, seemingly perfectly compared to other videos, I wasn't able to end it early. So I'm not sure what needs to be done exactly to end it early. But it's a very shitty sequence. It may take you a while. That's the hardest part of the game, though. If you can beat that, you can beat the rest of the game. There's only 3 stages in this version, which is probably an improvement. The Genesis version has 4 stages, but they're all shit anyway. So for this, you're going to throw these plates. I like to stay right at the table so that I can grab the plates to reload my plate ammo, and I can pretty much hit everything from this table by curving the plates, though the controls are really fucking awkward. But I kind of just roll my thumb as I'm throwing the plates in. I was using a turbo controller as well, I think, so I could throw continuously, so that may help. But you can just pretty much stay here and curve all your plates, and if you do it right, you can hit all the enemies. But the controls, I really can't explain it because it plays that fucking bad. But you pretty much tap directions to fire in a certain direction, like fire straight ahead versus firing left or right. You just tap the direction once, but because it's on a diagonal angle, it's really awkward. And trying to hit enemies that are not perfectly lined up is very hard to do. So the curving plates will hit a lot of shit if you can curve the plates. It works even better in this version than it does on the Genesis version, so this was easy for me on this version. I beat it on the first try, whereas the Genesis version, it was so fucking hard to control it. It probably took me over 50 minutes to beat on the Genesis version. But this one's pretty simple. If you just stay all the way to the right, you can hit most of them. And then when the boss comes out, just stay by the door and fire straight ahead, and you can hit him before he really does much. So now we have the last stage. Yeah, this game doesn't deserve a full review video, so I'm just going to throw that in with this. So what you want to do is you want to grab the books or whatever they are. So here's the first one. So squat down here. Now in this version, you don't have to climb down the ladders to create a checkpoint, like it seemed I had to do in the Genesis version. So you can just grab the books. You got to jump the low telephone poles, and the ones that have something above them, you have to duck. It's not the clearest thing, but that's how you deal with that. And then you want to try to take out these enemies while ducking and jumping as needed. The ladders are super anal. You have to be perfectly centered with them to go down them, perfectly lined up to how the game wants you. So you could get stuck on the ladder for a while, and then you get hit and killed. So there are no lives in this, I don't think, unless that thing at the bottom right is actually lives. But I don't think that's what it is. I think that's health. What you have to worry about is if you die too much, you'll waste a lot of time, and then the timer will count down. So that's why deaths are not good. But you can die quite a bit once you know the route. It's pretty damn easy. Definitely the easiest part of the game. Well, the second stage in this one is pretty fucking easy, but this is you know, this is very easy. It's probably easier than the one in the Genesis version. Though both games are very similar, so that's why I'm looping them together. I mean, this version may be a little worse in some ways, but they're pretty similar. So you just want to wait for that, grab the last book, and that's it. That's the end of this shitty game. So yeah, so my review for the Genesis and Master System games is going to be a 2 out of 10, only because the game is playable. I mean, you know, and the first stage isn't horrible with the horse. I mean, it's a shitty way to start the game, really aggressive, but I mean, it plays okay. It doesn't play horribly, but it's still, you know, a pretty lame fucking shitty sequence. And then the rest of the game just gets worse as far as even less replay value. You know, throwing plates, I mean, do you really want to try to get good at that? I mean, you just stand in one place. You can exploit that completely by standing in one spot, and that's 1/3 of the game already. So, I mean, you know, there's not much gameplay value to that. And then, of course, the Genesis version has a shooting range, which has inverted controls, and it's just shitty. Plays like shit. You know, and then you have the last stage, which is just, you know, collecting some bullshit. Not much to it. I mean, all you can try to do is speed run the game or something like that, or no death run it, but it's a shitty game. So I would say it's just a waste of time. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks for watching.